Omarosa Manigault Newman, a former contestant on The Apprentice and a former aide to then President Donald Trump and a confidant on and off, basically in the years between The Apprentice and him being in the White House, did an interview this past weekend. Fresh off the release from her NDA, a major legal victory she had last week, where she told Al Sharpton that Donald Trump is not being honest with the public about his health issues. Here's what she had to say. I think going into 2024, I'm really more concerned about the fact that Donald Trump hasn't come forward and talked about his health. I don't know if he will even be healthy enough to run in 2024. I think he needs to come clean to the American public about where he is on that before deciding to get into a very stressful and strenuous race for the White House. Now, we have had reports recently, from back when Donald Trump had COVID about a year ago, that they were worried they were going to have to put him on a ventilator. They were worried he was going to go into organ failure because, in spite of his brave public face, he wasn't doing very well. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Okay? We know that Donald Trump has basically had these quack doctors. First you had Ronnie Jackson, who's now a member of the House of Representatives, who basically said Trump was the healthiest president he's ever seen, which is terrifying enough because clearly, you can look at the guy and you see, no, you are not the model of perfect health here in the United States. And then, of course, you have the weird guy with the long hair. I don't even know his name, but talking about how, Trump was so great and healthy. No, we know the guy has been on either heart, blood thinner medication or cholesterol medication, blood pressure medication. We know that he's been on medicine, so he's not, top of the line here. So the question I have for Omarosa, if she happens to watch this and feels like answering, what do you know? What do you have to give us? Is Donald Trump genuinely not healthy enough? Because we already have these other reports here. Okay, we know that when he had COVID, they were worried essentially that he was going to die from it. He didn't. He survived. Good for him, right? So I don't think those health concerns are still there. I would think, of course, I'm not a doctor, and plus, even if I were, I hadn't examined him, but I would think that those concerns would have gone away. He obviously is not showing any signs of organ failure. We've seen him out there recently doing rallies. The guy doesn't seem to be in that bad of shape, relatively speaking. We do know his diet is horrible. We do know he's overweight, but hell, most of us are overweight. That's not a disqualifying fact. But I do agree, obviously, that we do need to know if this guy is in tip-top shape, right? If you have some health problems, that is relevant information. We need to know if you're going to be able to last another 4 years if you do decide to run again. I think you owe that to your base. Like, hey, vote for me, but just so you know, my ticker ain't that great. I might be gone in 2 years. That's the kind of information that does need to be revealed to the American public, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat running for office. We need to make sure that before we vote for you, that you're going to be able to make it through the 4 years. And honestly, I don't know that Trump can. But I will say this to his credit, and trust me, you watching this, you know I'm not a fan of him at all. I despise everything about the man. But the presidents that came before him came into office, Bush, Clinton, Obama, they came into office looking youthful, happy, filled with life. And by the time they left, granted they served 8 years, not 4 like Trump, but by the time they left, they looked like they just hated everything. They looked like they had aged 20 years. They were ready for it to be over and done with and get the hell out of D.C. Donald Trump looks the same today as he did at the start of his, 2015 presidential campaign. Because the stress didn't bother him because he didn't stress out about anything. Because he didn't understand anything. And he didn't care about anything. So I don't think Trump actually got the same kind of wear and tear that his predecessors had. So I do think, obviously, there's a million different things you can attack Donald Trump for. But his health? Yeah, we know he's not healthy. But honestly, I don't think that's going to be a factor for him in 2024.